Hello there, you're tuned in to 7Edition with me, Zanshara Haizat. The headlines. Government to consider bringing back GST. Grab faces 86.7 million ringgit fine over abusive practices. And police looking for 21 rogue lawyers. We begin the bulletin with this story. The Prime Minister today said that the government has no problem bringing back the Goods and Services Tax GST, which was abolished last year. This after a think tank said the consumer tax could be reintroduced at a lower rate to help boost government coffers.
Kita kalau itu yang kehendak rakyat, kita akan kaji sama ada lebih baik daripada SST atau.
So what kalau nak masuk ke bajet tu?
Bajet susah sikit lah.
Maybe later on lah.
Maybe later on.
The Premier said this to the media after launching the Home Ministry's Security and Public Order Policy DKKA in Putrajaya. Yesterday, the Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, MIER, said Putrajaya could reintroduce the GST in Budget 2020 at a lower rate of 3%. The tax regime, with a rate of 6% put in place by the previous BN administration in April 2015, was replaced by the Pakatan Harapan government with a Sales and Services Tax SST on September 1st last year. Meanwhile, Tun Dr. Mahathir said the DKKA aims to protect Malaysia's sovereignty and peace as the world now faces various complex security threats. The Prime Minister added the new security policy will also ensure Malaysia remains a prosperous and respected nation while keeping the people united and national interests safeguarded.
According to the Premier, the policy will complement the National Security Police (DKN), an umbrella policy for various aspects of national security. He also said the DKKA comes at a time when Malaysia is facing challenges which are difficult to handle through conventional methods.
Pendekatan ini termasuklah pembangunan sumber manusia yang lebih kompeten bagi menghadapi cabaran yang lebih kompleks ini. Selain itu, penggunaan artificial intelligence ataupun AI, penggunaan drone, otomasi berasaskan robotik, cloud computing dan Internet of Things yang berupaya mengurangkan kos dan sumber manusia di samping meningkatkan kecekapan dalam menangani cabaran dan isu-isu keselamatan.
The DKKA, which is also in line with the government's digitalization policy, outlined 6 core areas and 21 strategies as guide and reference in facing various current security and public order issues. It include upholding the constitution and the institutions of religion, race and country, strengthening border security, combating the drug menace, and improving governance and integrity.
The Malaysia Competition Commission MyCC has proposed to slap 86.7 million ringgit fine on Grab Inc. for collectively breaching the Competition Act. The anti-competition statutory body also proposed a daily penalty of 15,000 ringgit against the e-hailing firm from today after it was found that Grab had abused its dominant position by imposing some restrictive clauses on its drivers.
We have found that
MyCC Chief Executive Officer Iskandar Ismail said the restrictive clauses had the effect of distorting competition in the relevant market, that it premised on multi-sided platforms by creating barriers to entry and expansion for Grab's existing and future competitors.
MyCC dalam keputusan cadangannya mendapati Grab telah menyalahgunakan kedudukan dominannya melalui pengenaan beberapa klausa yang membataskan pemandu-pemandunya daripada mempromosikan dan menyediakan perkhidmatan pengiklanan kepada pesaing-pesaing Grab dalam perkhidmatan e-hailing dan pasaran pengiklanan media transit.
Under Section 10 of the Competition Act, an enterprise is prohibited from engaging, whether independently or collectively, in any conduct which amounts to an abuse of a dominant position in any market for goods or services. Grab has 30 days to make a representation to the Commission. Meanwhile, Grab has denied allegations of abusive practices towards its drivers or competitors. According to its spokesperson, they have complied fully with the Competition Act and were surprised by the proposed decision by MyCC today. Their legal counsels are now studying the proposed fine. They also believe it is common practice for businesses to decide upon the availability and type of third-party advertising on their respective platforms, tailored according to consumers' needs and feedbacks. Grab will be submitting its written representations to MyCC by November 27th. Police have released the names of 21 lawyers who are wanted for 39 alleged criminal breach of trust and cheating cases involving over 30 million ringgit between 2012 and 2019. Bukit Aman Commercial Crime Investigation Department, CCCID Director Datuk Seri Muhammad Zakaria Ahmad said police have been trying to trace those in the country based on their last known address, but have not been successful so far. Checks with the Immigration Department revealed 5 are residing overseas, while 16 are still in the country.
Ya, kita masih ada 21 peguam. Yang mana peguam-peguam ini daripada siasatan kita 8 perlu ditangkap untuk dituduh di mahkamah kerana kertas siasatannya telah lengkap, waran tangkap telah diperolehi, manakala 13 lagi diperlukan untuk kita membantu siasatan dan sebelum kita mengemukakan kertas siasatan kepada pihak Timbalan Pendakwa Raya untuk diambil tindakan yang sewajarnya, sama ada pertuduhan dan lain-lain.
These lawyers, aged between 36 and 69, were found to have abused their clients' money for personal use or failed to pay damages to victims. Authorities are also tracking down 117 individuals believed to have been involved in loan shark activities. Of that, 50 are wanted to be charged at court, while 63 others are being sought to assist police investigations.
In other news, 6 men in Sabah suspected of killing a pygmy elephant in Sungai Udin Dumpas in Kalabakan have been remanded for 4 days beginning today. The suspects, including an illegal immigrant, all aged between 48 and 68, were issued the remand order at the Tawau Magistrates Court to facilitate investigations under the Firearms Act. In their arrest yesterday, police also seized 56 live bullets, bullet shells and 3 firearms believed to have been used in the heinous act. An autopsy revealed the animal received 70 gunshot wounds on the body with a bullet piercing its head. Meanwhile, the Customs Department has seized more than 18 million ringgit worth of illicit cigarettes following a series of raids in the Klang Valley from September 22nd. During the 2-week-long operation, over 22 million cigarettes and 26,000 Kretek cigarettes with fake tax stamps were seized. 29 arrests were also made, while 15 vehicles used by syndicates were also confiscated. 86 bank accounts involving about 16 million ringgit were also frozen by customs in accordance to the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act.
Elsewhere, a couple was killed while their 3 children were injured in a road accident involving a car and a lorry at Jalan Kuantan, Seremban in Rompin, Pahang early this morning. The couple was identified as 31-year-old Muhammad Nur Idham Ramli and Surawati Muhammad, aged 33. In the 4:50 a.m. crash, Muhammad Nur died at the scene while his wife was pronounced dead at the Muazzam Shah Hospital at 8 a.m. Their children, Arish Razin, Aryan Rizki, and Arfan Rakin, suffered minor injuries and are being treated at the same hospital. The 43-year-old lorry driver also walked away with minor injuries. Based on initial investigations, the Produamai V the family was traveling in was believed to have skidded onto the opposite lane and crashed into the lorry. The cause of the crash is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. The Education Ministry is investigating claims that several Form 3 assessment PT3 exam papers have been leaked. These papers include English, mathematics, and geography. It was alleged that the exam questions or parts of the papers were made available on social media before students were due to sit for the assessment.
Kita akan buat siasatan. Semalam sudah keluarkan satu kenyataan, JPN akan buat siasatan. Ya, tetapi samalah. Maksudnya SOP adalah sama.
The National Union of the Teaching Profession, NUTP, has called for a thorough investigation into the incident, adding that claims of exam paper leaks could trigger a loss of confidence in teachers. The examination syndicate had said that based on the standard operating procedures, the responsibility to download and print the exam paper rests with the principal, senior administration assistant, and PT3 secretary in the respective schools. Coming up, multiple casualties after Flying Fortress warplane crashes. We'll be right back. We're back with foreign news. At least 9 people were killed as of Thursday after Typhoon Mitag lashed South Korea with heavy rain and strong winds Wednesday. Authorities are expecting the death toll to rise, with several people still missing. The storm prompted flood warnings and triggered landslides in affected areas. Local officials said that over 1,000 homes and other infrastructures had collapsed, while the evacuation of over 1,500 people was in progress from the affected areas. Meanwhile, electricity has been restored to 83% of more than 44,000 homes and buildings that experienced power outages. According to the Korea Meteorological Administration, the season's 18th typhoon made landfall on the coast of the small southwestern fishing county of Hainam on Wednesday night and made its way towards the East Sea early Thursday. Seven people aboard a vintage World War II plane were killed on Wednesday when it crashed shortly after takeoff and burst into flames at the Bradley Airport in the U.S. state of Connecticut. The flight took off at 9:45 a.m. local time before reporting 5 minutes later that it was having difficulties and that it requested to land immediately. Authorities, however, have not yet determined the cause of the plane's malfunction.
According to an official, the vintage Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress struggled to gain altitude after taking off. It circled the airport and attempted to land on a runway before losing control and plowing into a maintenance facility containing tanks of de-icing fluid, injuring a person on the ground. The plane erupted into flames, making it difficult for authorities to determine the identity of the charred victims. 6 survivors of the crash were brought to the hospital for treatment. The crash sent plumes of black smoke rising from the airfield, and witnesses described seeing a huge ball of orange flames when it happened. The aircraft was reportedly civilian registered and was not being flown by the U.S. military. Bradley, the second largest airport in New England, was closed, and the FAA put in a ground stop for all arriving flights.
Over in Iraq, its Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi has declared a curfew in Baghdad until further notice after at least 18 people were killed, including 1 police officer, and more than 400 were injured as nationwide anti-government protests entered its 3rd day. Curfews had already been declared in 3 other cities as protests over lack of jobs, poor services, and corruption escalated.
Movements by all vehicles and individuals are forbidden in the curfew, which began at 5 a.m. local time to stem the demonstrations. Travelers to and from Baghdad airport, ambulances, government employees in hospitals, electricity and water departments, and religious pilgrims are exempt from the curfew. The demonstrations have descended into violence as security forces responded to protesters by firing tear gas, rubber bullets and live rounds. Tuesday's violent crackdown against unarmed protesters in central Baghdad puts the Iraqi Prime Minister in a very critical position as they threaten to bring down his government on the very first anniversary of its formation. Tensions have also been worsened by a near-total internet blackout and the closure of government offices in Baghdad. Protesters are demanding for improvement of government services to fighting corruption and finding jobs for the unemployed. The demonstrations follow months of simmering frustration over rampant power cuts, water shortages, and state corruption.
Now let's hop on to Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making the rounds in the cyber world today. Putrajaya citizens were united once again, and this time to help a student raise funds for a good cause. A male student from Kuching, Sarawak, known as Mahathir, launched the crowdfund last Wednesday and managed to raise 790 ringgit to buy a brand new watch for a cleaning lady at his university campus. This after he learned that her watch was damaged after it got soaked from cleaning toilets. Here's the story.
In a lengthy Twitter thread, Mahathir explained that the cleaner had wished for a water-resistant watch due to the nature of her work, but the single mother cannot afford to buy any of the watches recommended by the students to her. Due to this, Mahathir decided to propose a crowdfunding project to his followers to buy her the gift as a token of appreciation and because he considered her like his own mother. With the power of the internet, a day later, Mahathir managed to collect 790 ringgit and bought the watch for 298 ringgit and presented the gift to the woman. Initially, she declined the gift but accepted it after the student convinced her that it was not from him alone but also from his Twitter friends and followers. The rest of the money that he collected was then used to buy groceries as well as pocket money for 8 other cleaning ladies at the campus.
We're taking a short break, but up next, Huawei looking at developing a holistic digital ecosystem in Malaysia. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back. Huawei Malaysia aims to develop a holistic ecosystem in Malaysia with the launch of 13 new products at the Huawei Malaysia Ecosystem Conference HMEC 2019. The telecommunications giant also introduced their new operating system, Huawei Mobile Services HMS, and launched their flagship smartphone for the Malaysian market, the Mate 30 series.
HMEC 2019 is a platform for knowledge sharing among industry players within the digital ecosystem aimed at creating growth and value in Malaysia. More than 300 delegates, including government officials, industry and business partners, as well as application developers, attended the conference at Hotel W Kuala Lumpur. The conference provided an excellent opportunity to help grow the app developers ecosystem in Malaysia.
Dan ini satu inisiatif yang baik oleh TV3 dan juga MDEC dan Huawei. Saya percaya akan memberikan lebih banyak ruang dan peluang kepada pencipta-pencipta apps ini untuk bergiat lebih aktif dengan pelbagai insentif yang diberikan oleh Huawei.
The partnership between Huawei, MDEC and Media Prima aims to benefit consumers of digital applications in Malaysia and further the country's effort to develop the world's top digital ecosystem. Meanwhile, the Huawei App Developer Scholarship worth 30,000 ringgit was awarded each to two local universities, University Malaya and University Technology Mara. Huawei also announced Malaysia as the first country after China where consumers can buy the latest Mate 30 series phones. Loyal Huawei Mate series users can pre-order the Mate 30 Pro through the exclusive ownership campaign online. The Mate 30 is priced at 2,799 ringgit, while the Mate 30 Pro is 3,899 ringgit.
Our Huawei Mate 30 Pro exclusive ownership campaign begins today at 2 p.m. at 3rd October all the way to the 22nd October. Eligible loyal Mate users upon purchase can get exclusive gifts up to Ringgit Malaysia 1,155. Now, all this will take delivery on the 25th of October this month. So quickly, go to our website to check your eligibility.
In addition to the launching of the new smartphone, Huawei also introduced a range of new products, including the Huawei GT2 smartwatch, Huawei Band 4, and Huawei Wi-Fi devices.
Malaysia has to reach economic growth of 8% in order to attain the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030. According to Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, MIER, the gross domestic product (GDP) growth rate has to be between 6 and 8% and not between 4 and 5%. According to its chairman, Tan Sri Kamal Saleh, to achieve more than 6%, the government has to do a leapfrog strategy and focus on key sectors. He cautioned that Malaysia has to be wary of anomalies that are happening outside the country and not be complacent of the moment oil prices go up, as it generates momentary boost of income. Instead, the country needs to divert its resources and invest in the structural change of long to medium-term growth. Bursa Malaysia ended lower today on continued selling in the broader market amid fears of local economic uncertainty and a slower global growth. The benchmark FBM-KLCI was down 10.78 points to 1,564.12 from Wednesday's close of 1,574.9. On to stocks to watch. My News Holdings Berhad officially launched its food production center yesterday, growing the fresh food sales to stay competitive in the industry. The company may also see a boost in fresh food volume sales and increased brand visibility after introducing its online convenience stores delivery services My News Dash last month via a mix of internal staff and partnership with Grab Express. Next. Ma Sing Group's long-term outlook could remain positive, backed by strong sales achieved in the past few quarters. The company's recent acquisitions are also expected to be strong sellers, given their strategic locations and attractive pricing. And last but not least, Malaysia International Shipping Corporation, MISC, has been awarded a 3-year charter contract worth $28 million by Petronas for one LNG bunker vessel, representing the company's first entry into bunker vessel space. Elsewhere, the firm is also eyeing to tap the global floating production storage and offloading FPSO market as it prepares a bid for a mega FPSO project in Brazil by year-end.